when the first dawn occurred across the expansive heavens, lighting up the world. The stars, they found their specific position in the seemingly infinite void. Initially, there was simply silence. Having emanated from that silence, three distinct forces appeared to be neither gods nor demons, but rather something that was deeply older. These beings were the offspring of the bones of creation itself. Their purpose was not meant to be discovered by the humans, and certainly not meant to awaken from their slumber. Since they are awakened, the pillars of the world would undoubtedly begin to tremble. The seas would become violent. The earth would split open, and the sky would burst in flames. Having access to ancient scrolls and forgotten scriptures, their names were delicately whispered with an atmosphere of dread and fascination. Leviathan, Behemoth, and Ziz, the serpentine of the deep, the massive beast of the earth, the aerial bird of the skies. Together, these beings create the intriguing trio of the end, each tied by a distinct boundary: water, land, and sky, each of them having the role of a guardian, and sometimes a devastating destroyer. Predictions suggest that in the final age, when men have polluted the oceans, disrupted the forests, and challenged the stars, the seals that hold them in place will undoubtedly crumble, and the world will hold memory of what fearing the men of the end times might mean. Tonight we delve deeper into the most ancient myth of all, a gripping tale of chaos, balance, and judgment, the legendary story of Leviathan, Behemoth, and Ziz, the beasts of the end times. Part 1. The Leviathan, the serpent of the abyss. In the beginning, when the world was still young and the ocean had no limits, something vast stirred beneath the surface of the world's waters, a shadow even longer than the horizon's length, eyes that seemed to burn like dual suns from below the surface. The ancient ones called it Leviathan, the serpent of the deep, the mighty terror of the abyss. It was said that even the mighty gods feared its awakening, that its breath turned the vast expanse of sea into a storm and its hunger consumed light itself. In the ancient texts, Leviathan is often described as a creature of divine wrath, a seemingly divine weapon, forged by the Creator to remind the proud that the sea is not theirs to conquer over. Yet in older forgotten myths, it was chaos incarnate, a remnant of the time before order, before the heavens were divided from the waters, a memory of the world when all was empty and wild. They say that its powerful body coils around the world's foundations, its deadly tail biting its own head, forming a fierce circle that holds the vast oceans together. And if that circle were ever cracked open, the tides would swell up and swallow continents. The Book of Job spoke of it. No sword can pierce its scales. No spear can wound its hide. It laughs at the shaking of spears. Yet this was no mere beast. Leviathan was balance, the sea's wise guardian and its most bitter curse. It devoured ships not out of malice, but to restore the sacred order that had been broken. As time passed, mankind grew increasingly arrogant. They poisoned the vast waters and claimed dominion over what they could not even understand. And deep below, the serpent stirred. They say when the moon appears full and the stars fall into the sea, Leviathan will rise once more, its scales shimmering with the light of 1,000 drowned suns. The oceans will open like vast wounds, and the sky above will split with its cry. But the wise tell another version, that Leviathan is not merely destruction, but healing. When it devours the world, it also cleanses it and ends the age of man's rule over it. Perhaps the serpent does not hate us. Perhaps it is merely remembering what we have forgotten, that even creation has its own limits, and that beyond those limits lies the deep and endless abyss. Part 2. The enigmatic Behemoth, the earthly beast. Beneath the vast expanse of the ocean's depths lies a creature known as Leviathan. Yet within the layers of the earth's surface lies another beastly presence, a being whose breath can shatter the foundations of mountains, whose footsteps can leave long-lasting trails behind. The locals called this creature Behemoth, with its origins stemming from the raw essence of creation. It is said to reside in the hidden corners of the wilderness, an area untouched or minimally impacted by human influence, where rivers flow like veins and mountains beat like a rhythmic pulse. The scriptures described Behemoth as a creature of utter complexity. It feeds on grass like an ordinary ox, but its true strength lies within its own chest. Its bones resemble iron bars, and its tail moves like a robust tree in the wind. Some enthusiasts believe that Behemoth was a divine power embodied in the form of an ox. Others dismissed it as the very dynamic core of the earth itself, given the essence of a living being, the embodiment of nature's unyielding endurance and boundless wrath. If Leviathan symbolizes the ocean's fury, Behemoth represents the earth's beating heart. For eons, prophets have written that when the final cycle of time comes to pass, Behemoth will rise from its hidden lair to challenge Leviathan, the land contesting against the sea, harmony against chaos. The very ground will crack open. Mountain peaks will shatter like pieces of broken glass, and every living entity will hear its mighty roar, a call that echoes through the very stones and bones of the earth. However, the tales do not always align. Some believe that Behemoth is not solely the destroyer, but the very balancing force. It is the very weight that maintains the balance between earth and sea. It serves as guards for the land from the bottomless abyss below. Yet when mankind's insatiable lust reaches too far, when forests are meticulously cleared and the earth is exhausted, its slumber becomes restless. They believe that the day Behemoth awakens, the rivers will lose their natural direction, and the mountains will bow down in submission, not with reverence towards it, but with surrender towards the earth. For the earth will remember its very first song, and the beast will sing it again, the eternal melody of creation and judgment linked together. Perhaps Behemoth is not our primary nemesis, but our last stronghold, a reminder that the earth can also produce a mighty roar. Part 3. The Ziz, the bird of the heavens. Resting atop the storm-tossed seas and the earthly trembling floor, there permeates a profound silence. A silence so profound that even the vast heavens seem to hold their breath in astonishment. For in that profound silence something stirred, not on the seas nor upon the land, but in the skies where light itself seems to shrink away from dwelling. The people called it Ziz, yet a name barely spoken, even among the ancient ones. For while Leviathan ruled the seas and Behemoth the land, Ziz, the guardian of the very air that sustains all life, commanded the very skies that divide the land and sea. Its powerful wings, they said, stretched from one horizon to another. When it took flight, its wingspan darkened the sun itself, and when it cried, storms were born. The old texts recount that Ziz was created to guard the heavens, to control the winds and maintain order amongst the clouds. It served as a barrier between the mortal world and the divine. But time erodes even the purest intentions, and when men built fortresses to chase the clouds, when they created machines to claim the sky, the old guardian stirred by something more powerful than men. Ziz is rumored to lie beyond the stars now, nestling upon the edge of the immense firmament, its feathers glistening with a brilliance like gold and molten fire. Yet in visions of the end, prophets saw it descend, its wings casting embers for a blaze upon the skies. Each tussle of its feathers sparks a storm. Each rhythm of its wings rips apart the veil between worlds. When Ziz sounds its call, lightning answers its call. When it spreads its wing, the wind submits to no man or God. Some believed Ziz was the embodiment of mercy, the spirit that lifts the living souls from earth to the eternal afterlife. Others dreaded Ziz as a symbol of judgment, the last sound to be heard as the world ends. But in truth, Ziz was neither. It was balance, the harmonious voice of the skies, the final piece of a celestial trinity. For if Leviathan is the deep and Behemoth the land, then Ziz is the breath between them, the unseen current that connects the sea and the earth alike. And when all three of them stir, Seas wreeze, lands shake with fear, and the sky burns with heat. The monstrous beasts of the end shall gather once more for one final encounter. Part 4. The Battle of the End Times. The ancients spoke of a day when the balance would shatter, when the earth would no longer bear the weight of sin, and the heavens would no longer hide their sorrow. On that day, the seals of creation would break, and the three guardians would awaken. From the abyss, Leviathan rises, its scales dripping with the darkness of the deep. Its body coils through the oceans, and the waves obey only its rage. From the deserts and shattered plains, Behemoth emerges, each step a quake, each breath a storm of dust and flame. The mountains bow beneath its weight. The rivers flee from its shadow, and from the heavens Ziz descends, its wings blotting out the sun, its cry shaking the stars themselves. The three, the eternal trinity of nature, now stand upon the edges of the world. Sea, land, sky, all trembling beneath their masters once more. The battle begins not with hatred, but with purpose. Leviathan crashes against the shores, its jaws tearing at the land. Behemoth charges the sea, its horns splitting the waves, and above them Ziz circles, its scream summoning lightning that scorches both beast and earth alike. For days the world becomes a storm of chaos and flame. The oceans rise to swallow mountains. The skies burn like molten glass, and the very air turns to ash. Mankind watches from the ruins, powerless. Their cities sink, their towers fall, their voices drowned in the roar of the elements they once claimed to command. But amid the ruin, the prophecy unfolds. It is said that the three beasts were never meant to destroy, only to restore. As their battle reaches its end, they turn upon one another, each representing one realm, each consuming the other in an eternal cycle. Leviathan devours Behemoth. Behemoth crushes Leviathan, and Ziz dives from the heavens to consume them both. Then, nothing. The sea falls silent. The earth stills, the sky darkens to black, and from that stillness, a single heartbeat. A new dawn rises. The seas calm. The land breathes again, and the sky opens to light. What was once wrath becomes renewal. For the old must end, so the new can begin. The beasts return to their slumber. Leviathan beneath the waters, Behemoth beneath the earth, and Ziz beyond the clouds. And so the cycle continues. The guardians rest once more, waiting for the day mankind forgets their lesson again. Because the end is not a single moment. It is a reminder. A whisper from the deep, from the soil, and from the wind, that the world does not belong to us. We belong to it. Part 5. The Purpose and Significance of Myth. In the end, the world does not metamorphose into a fiery inferno or a tidal wave. Instead, it merely began anew. The myths of Leviathan, the Behemoth, and Ziz are not tales of destruction. Instead, they are mirrors, ancient reflections of what humanity fears the most and what it has, perhaps, forgotten entirely. For the ancients did recognize something which we ourselves are no longer able to comprehend fully. That nature itself is not only a living force, but also an entity that is alive. That not only the sea, the land, and the sky may breathe, hunger, and even dream. Leviathan, the mythical creature of the depths, was not the actual enemy of humanity. Instead, it was the deep-seated voice of wisdom, urging us to recognize every excess that demands a corresponding rejuvenation. The Behemoth was not a mere monster. Instead, it was the embodied heart of the world, reminding us that even the foundations upon which we stand are not without limits. Ziz, the legendary bird of the heavens, was not merely a symbol of hope or freedom. Instead, it was the eternal echo of the skies, the embodiment of hope itself, and the delicate balance of the ever-present unseen forces. Together, these mythical creatures symbolize not merely doom and annihilation, but also the rebirth of the world. Each era of human existence builds its own towering structures, claims dominion over the land and the seas, and simultaneously forgets the old fundamental rules. However, when the balance collapses, the beasts emerge, not as destructive forces, but as the loving reminder of what is now needed. Perhaps in the end of the world is not truly the end at all, but merely a moment where chaos is set free. A space where creation itself cleanses the world, allowing it to breathe anew. The Leviathan lies beneath the ocean's waves. The Behemoth thrives beneath the majestic mountains. Ziz soars above the veil of ever-changing clouds. And ultimately we, the small humans who inhabit between their dreams and aspirations, are merely the living embodiment of the grand design that connects all things. So it is in that smallness that we find our true purpose, a unique place within the vast array of creation itself, not above or beyond it. And so perhaps the end of the world is not the end at all, but rather the rebirth of a whole new cycle of remembrance, the sleep of the beasts and the great enigma. And so the world makes one last turn. The beasts return from their eternal slumber. The depths of the ocean cradle their serpentine creature. The earth embraces its mighty giant. And above it all, the sky holds its fiery bird of flame. But do not forget this. The end is not truly gone. It lingers, beneath the waves, beneath the soil, even behind the looming clouds, as the next whisper of ambition calls it forth once more. For every period has its mighty Leviathan. Every empire boasts its colossal behemoth. Every sky is adorned with its guardians. And when they rise up to take shape, they will gently remind us once more that creation does not bow down to its storied children. This is the magical tale of the beasts of the end times, a tale of silence and secrets. You have been listening to the enchanting world of Myth Abyss, where tales are woven of heroes in darkness, and life itself finds its way back into the darkness for a moment.